and I'm so glad that you've come to the palace today. Yeah. It's the 10th anniversary since I became queen, and my husband, King Xerxes, has commissioned a musical to tell my history. Mordecai and I are very nervous because opening night is tomorrow night. So thank you for coming to our last practice. I want to teach you guys something before we get started. Can you stand up, please? Sure. It's called the Royal Wave, okay? It goes like this. Elbow, elbow, wrist, wrist. Elbow, elbow, wrist, wrist. And sometimes the guys like to bow like this, or wave like this. Can you do that? Okay, so let's try elbow, elbow, wrist, wrist. Elbow, elbow, wrist, wrist. Or like this. Very good.
Esther, dear.
Oh!
The time. We really must get started.
You're right, dear Mordecai. Are you all ready for the royal rendition of Esther
And Mordecai,
the Musical?
Yeah.
Yeah!
I can't hear you.
Mordecai's always been a little hard of hearing. Let's try it one more time. Are you ready?
Then we begin. Once upon a time, there was a Jewish girl who was my cousin. Her name was Hadassah. She was a lovely young lady who adored her father and mother, but one day she received some terrible news. Her mother and father died, and she was now an orphan.
I was afraid, didn't know what to do on my own. Everything changed when I first heard the news. Felt all alone. I knelt right there, for I just couldn't stand so much at stake. But then he came and he reached out his hand for me to take. Cousin, now father, favor from above. Orphan, now daughter, clothed in love. I'm wanted by him. He loves me as his own. He takes me in and gives me a home. Household now mine, with room to dance and play. I'm wanted, and I'll never be the same. As difficult as my parents' death was, Cousin Mordecai, now my adopted father, took great care of me. We lived a simple yet happy life until one day we received some very difficult news.
Ah, yes, King Xerxes. He was having a big party, and this party lasted 7 days. On the 7th day, he wanted his queen Vashti to come and display her beauty for all of his guests to see. Vashti said no. She would not come, and this made the king very, very angry. And so him and his officials came up with a plan, and they would find a new queen from all of the maidens in the land. My sweet Hadassah was taken from me. She was brought to the palace to be considered for the new queen.
I was frightened to be taken away from Father Mordecai. He told me to hide my real name and the fact that I was Jewish. Our people were not well received by others in the kingdom, so Mordecai thought it best if I did not let those know at the palace my true identity. I was called Esther from that day forward.
I was worried for Esther, but I knew that God would show her favor while she was kept in the palace. You see, a man named Haggai, who was in charge of all the eligible bachelorettes, took good care of Esther. He provided her with beauty treatments and special food.
While I went through a year of beauty treatments, I did not reveal my nationality or my family background because Mordecai had forbidden me to do so.
Every day I walked back and forth outside the palace walls, wondering how Esther was. What was happening in there? Was she being taken care of? Finally, it was Esther's turn to go before the king. So she took only what Haggai had given her. And listen what happened.
I was afraid, didn't know what to do on my own. Everything changed when I first heard the news. Felt all alone. I knelt right there, for I just couldn't stand so much at stake. But then he came and he reached out his hand for me to take. Highness, now husband, favor from above. Maiden, now queen, and clothed in love. I'm wanted by him. He loves me as his own. He takes me in and gives me a home. Palace now mine, with room to dance and reign. I'm wanted, and I'll never be the same. Who would have thought? Me, a queen. Only God could have made this happen.
Now Esther was queen, but there was a prideful man in the palace named Haman, and he wanted us to bow before him. But we are Jewish, and we only bow before the one true God. This made Haman very, very angry. He did not like this, and so he came up with a terrible plan because of his anger.
I heard that Mordecai was very upset, and I needed to find out why. A messenger delivered the news that my people were going to be destroyed. Haman had persuaded the king to get rid of my people. He still didn't know that I was Jewish.
And so I told Esther, go to the king and beg for mercy. Plead with him for your people, for our people.
But I reminded Mordecai that if I go to the king without being invited, it could mean certain death for me. If he didn't put out his royal scepter to me, then I could be killed for entering the inner court without being summoned.
But I reminded Esther that God will deliver his people, whether it is through her or someone else. God would deliver his people. And maybe God put Esther in her royal position for such a time as this.
And that's when I decided to be brave. Even though I was scared, I sent a message to Mordecai that said, go, gather all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, day or night. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it's against the law. And if I perish, I perish.
On the third day, Esther went into the inner court of the palace, in front of the king's hall, and she waited.
I was afraid, didn't know what to do on my own. Everything changed when I first heard the news. Felt all alone. I knelt right there, for I just couldn't stand so much at stake. But then he came and he reached out his hand for me to take. Creator, now Savior, favor from above, rescued from danger and clothed in love. Heaven now mine, with room to dance and reign. I'm wanted, and I'll never be the same. I'm wanted, and I'll never be the same. The king reached out his scepter to me. It was a miracle. But the greater miracle happened soon after, when my people were saved from destruction. The King of Kings rescued us and exposed the evil of Haman. We were saved from danger, and so we had a party of sorts. Our sorrow was turned into joy, and our mourning into a day of celebration.
As you can see, we faced a dangerous and difficult time. But God used my brave Esther to lead our people to fast and pray. And God answered our prayers and delivered us. God heard our prayers, and we were rescued by the King of Kings. We're wanted, and we'll never